This week on Command N, the Steve Jobs health mystery, how to build your own home network part 2, and word to your motherboard. Welcome to episode 137 of Command N. I'm Amber.
And I'm Rahaf.
And Rahaf, tell us a little bit about what you do, because as we know, Will Pate is not here. He had food poisoning this week, and so you were nice enough to step in.
I'm a new media strategist working out of Toronto and taking advantage of poor Will's sickness to have a good time with Command N.
I know, we're so glad that you're here. And if you're wondering where we are, we're at a Little Geeks event in Toronto. And Little Geeks is an organization that gives away computers and other electronics to kids in need. And the plan for them for June is to give away up to 200 computers to needy children. So this is a really great cause. And if you know of any organization like this in your neighborhood, it would be great if you left a comment on commandn.tv.
Help spread the geekdom around.
You have to. And we have very nice t-shirts after today, too.
Yay.
All right, let's talk about the tech headlines of the week. We decided to come outside because it was pretty chaotic inside, and it's a beautiful day. We know how Command N viewers like us outside.
I'm definitely not complaining. It was winter like last week, so I'm more than happy to stand in the sun for a little while.
Yes, I totally agree. Now, in tech news for the week, the WWDC event happened. That's Apple's big event, or one of them. And there wasn't anything too sexy that was announced, but of course the 3G iPhone, which will be in Canada and other countries around the world. So people are excited about that, and also because the price has been dropped to $199.
Oh, that is awesome. It is finally affordable.
Yes, that's true, but who knows about the data plans? And I keep really harping on this because oftentimes we see people get so excited about the iPhone, but you know, what if it costs you $200, $300 a month? I mean, then all of a sudden, the iPhone's not looking so sexy.
I'm just hoping that Apple did not bend down to Rogers. And they continue to insist that it is an unlimited data plan. So that is I'm crossing my fingers, waiting till July.
I think we might have to go and pray for that one.
You know, also at the conference when Steve Jobs was giving his keynote, a lot of people were saying that he looked really thin and that some people even said he looked sickly. And it's actually, there are a lot of rumors happening online right now about what is the cause between his, I guess, unnatural health state. And the speculations range from a relapse of the pancreatic cancer scare he had 4 years ago, all the way to my favorite rumor, his wife is keeping him on a very, very restrictive vegan diet. Either way, it's making Apple investors very, very nervous, and a couple of shareholders have started asking the company to release an official statement about his health because they've seen the stock take a bit of a hit.
Wow, and I've heard that they've said that in fact he's suffering some bug that just really didn't go away. And I think what's interesting about this is in the media all the time you hear people who comment and who are critical of women and their weight and what they're wearing and whatnot. But very rarely do you hear someone comment about a man. So it's kind of unusual, and I think at the end of the day we just all really hope that he's very healthy, because he really is the face of Apple. He's the guy who's kind of pulled it all together and made it all happen. And some people even say he's a genius behind Apple. And I don't know the guy personally, but from what I've read, he's obviously turned the company around and come out with some just amazing technology. So we hope that he is healthy and doing well right now.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as other companies that are healthy and doing very well, Rogers is one of those companies. And unfortunately, they have, well, fortunately for us, they have admitted that they are in fact traffic shaping. So they are violating net neutrality. So what this means is that customers who are paying for a certain amount of bandwidth from Rogers are not getting that full bandwidth. So what Rogers did is they actually called a press event. They invited a bunch of press there, and they admitted to doing this. But like a lot of major corporations, they didn't come out and say that they were going to change what they were doing, but just that they needed to protect their network. And disappointment all around.
I think it's so silly when you have customers that want faster, better internet and just better service, and you have this gigantic company put all these really smart people in a room, and the best thing they could come up with was capping the service that everyone is only going to need to use more in the future.
I know.
I mean, is it just me? Is it just like, it just seems very counterintuitive?
It's sad. We should have gone up to Bloor Street to the Rogers headquarters and knocked on the door and say, hey, come on, talk to us.
Well, if these are the guys who are coming up with these ideas, what are they going to do about the data plans for the iPhone?
I mean,
this is why I'm worried.
Well, someone left me a comment on Twitter and they said, well, if Rogers is in charge of the iPhone, does that mean that we're going to have a worse experience because they feel that way about other Rogers products? Again, can't comment about that, but time will tell what happens. And in other news, copyright is another big issue in Canada right now.
Yes, and another story of someone else doing something a little bit shady. The Canadian government is releasing an amendment to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act that's going to restrict Canadians' behavior online. And these behaviors include downloading music, burning music from CDs onto MP3 players, using an unlocked phone on a network, as well as time shifting. And this is brought by the Minister of Industry, Jim Prentice, who tried to introduce this back in December. But thankfully, Michael Geist, who was watching out for all of us, mounted a huge public opposition with 20,000 people on Facebook alone to sort of say that, no, this is not something that the Canadian public wants. And Jim Prentice promised that he would not do this again without first talking to the people and to big business, and he has not done that. So the Facebook group is now 40,000 strong, and I would encourage everyone to go join, because this is a really, really important issue that's going to affect everyone.
Yeah, you should definitely join, and also for people all around the world, you should read Michael Geist's blog. So Michael Geist is a professor in Ottawa, and his blog is fantastic. He's really an expert on copyright, so it's michaelgeist.ca. Tons of amazing information there, so check it out. Join the group on Facebook. Now, in other news, we have more big companies on our tech news list today. One of those companies is Google. Google's co-founder, Sergey Brin, has announced that he's put down a $5 million down payment to take a trip to space. Now, this is very exciting for people who are into going to space, and I'm not just saying this because I don't like to fly, but the truth is that sometimes when I hear these big companies and these CEOs and co-founders, when they're putting all this money into going into space, I think, couldn't there be better uses for that money here on Earth?
Absolutely. I mean, I just think, is Mexico not good enough for you anymore? And especially with events like this, such a small amount can go such a long way to really making a big impact in people's lives, and I just think it's a little bit of a waste.
Yeah, I have to agree. Maybe I'm being a little too idealistic, but of course I love Google and lots of their products, but as far as hearing that news, I think, I don't know. You know how I feel, I think.
Coming up next, rainbows and puppies on Command.
Yeah, exactly. Now, for TV watchers, there's a big online campaign happening.
Yes, there's an online campaign happening to save the show called The Dollhouse. And this show was made by Joss Whedon. He was the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Good show.
And Firefly and Angel. And it was picked up by Fox last year, but because of the writer's strike, there's a rumor, just a rumor, that it maybe might be canceled. But this news has been enough to basically incite people to take action, which I love. I love people taking action online. So there have been blog posts, a Facebook group of 1,500 people and growing, as well as tons of videos pleading with Fox to please save the show. Now, Fox is definitely used to having people write them angry letters. I remember the Arrested Development tragedy, as well as saving Family Guy not once, but twice. But the thing that's really interesting about this particular campaign is that no one has actually seen the show yet. It's not scheduled to be released on TV for another 8 months, so no one even knows if it's a good show. Not one person has seen a single episode. And I just think it's kind of interesting that they're sort of rallying around this cause without even knowing really the premise of the show or what it's going to be about or who's going to really be in it, and it's just kind of crazy. But apparently they're trying to get to the Fox executives before this confirmation is a sure thing, and with Fox being the way that they are, the place where good shows go to die. I wish them all the best and keeping good share.
Well, I guess it means that they're being proactive, so that's the good part of it. So we can't really knock them too much for that, and I think it really means that the public hopefully is getting smarter than you think.
Absolutely. I will sign some of those online petitions as well, because I cannot handle any more reality TV shows.
Yeah, I am totally with you there. And now we're going to check out the second part of how to set up your own home network.
Hi, I'm Jeff MacArthur. Last Tech Tips, we talked about what you need to set up a wireless network, and this week I'd like to share a few things about encrypting your wireless communications. Since your network may be, and likely is, totally unprotected when you first set it up, which can allow others to use the network without your permission, which steals bandwidth from you, and maybe even allows others to sneak onto your computer, it's always advisable to scramble your wireless data by using encryption. Encryption relies on a text number-based key, which may be different lengths depending on how secure the encryption is. This is a kind of password for your wireless communications, and there's several standards. 64-bit WEP, or Wired Equivalent Protocol, was the original wireless encryption standard, but it's pretty easy to crack and it's really totally outdated now. So it's better than nothing, but you should really be using something stronger. 128-bit WEP is a little more secure, essentially because the key is twice as long, and so it would take more time to crack. But when you're using any WEP, make sure to choose dynamic over static. But still, there are even better options. WPA, or WPA-PSK, or WPA Personal, is more secure than either version of WEP. But unfortunately, it's not as widely supported, and that's why sometimes you'll just be stuck having to settle for WEP encryption. There's also WPA Enterprise and WPA2, which provides the highest level of security. Essentially, you'll have to use whatever your wireless router, computer, and other devices can handle, but given the option, always try and choose WPA over WEP. In any case, at least use something to protect your data, because something is certainly better than nothing. Oh, and if you're asked to use hexadecimal characters, that just means numbers between 0 and 9 and the letters A through F. And I find the easiest thing to do is to try spelling things using the numbers as letters, and you can probably come up with something that you can remember a little more easily. That's all for me today. I'm Jeff MacArthur. Enjoy.
Steve, do you want to get, okay, you got the rest of it? So let's just.
Little Geeks is an organization founded by Andy Walker that donates old refurbished computers to underprivileged children.
It's really important because at school, most kids get asked to do computer tasks, and some kids don't have computers, so they can't do it. And this helps kids get computers so they can do it.
Now, Michael, there's been a few kids here who have gotten computers, and when you see them pick up their computers and walk out the door, what's that feeling like?
Can't define it. It's just the best feeling you could ever get. Knowing that I'm making all these kids happy, it's just amazing.
It just feels good that knowing that kids who can't afford stuff is actually getting stuff that is free and stuff.
And for people who want to get involved with Little Geeks, because obviously you guys are involved and we know how important it is, how would they go about getting involved?
You could visit our website. It's www.littlegeeks.org, and then you could sign up to be a mentor, or you could help refurbish computers.
Thank you.
Yes, we need all the who's over there.
And now it's time for our web picks of the week. As far as my web pick, I am going to choose a show called The Circuit. This is a web show. It's very funny. It's all about technology. They're in their 9th of 10 episodes, and I think their 10th is the last until they decide maybe they get more funding and they're going to restart it again. But the best part about the show is when the host introduces himself. Now, I'm not going to give any more away, but you have to check it out. You've watched it.
It's very funny.
Yeah, it's very, very good. So check that one out for sure.
My web pick is a site called lynda.com, and it's a tutorial site for people that want to learn how to use software like Flash or Final Cut Pro or even Dreamweaver. And how it works is that you pay $25 a month and you get access to their huge library. I'm talking thousands of videos that basically go through step by step how to use all of these programs. I think it's such a great way for people who want to learn at their own pace and from their house.
And I know Rahaf isn't going to say this, but she blogs all the time. She has tons of content on her blog. I'm very jealous of all the great stories that you find and all the context around those stories as well.
Comes from hours of surfing the web with nothing better to do.
I love it. Now remember, if you have any comments, you can leave them at commandn.tv. Thanks for watching and have a great week.